Warriors NRL fanatics, welcome back to the YouTube channel, and this is going to be the round 8 game preview between the New Zealand Warriors and the Canberra Raiders. It's been played on Saturday, the 30th of April at Moreton Daily Stadium in Redcliffe. I will be attending this game, so there will be a game day vlog on the channel, so yeah, keep an eye out for that one, and yeah, if you see me, come and say hi at the ground there. So yeah, look, I do have a special guest featuring towards the end of my preview, and that is Blake from the Canberra Raiders Review podcast. So if you want to check out their work, I'll put a link in the description to their socials and a link to their podcast. But a massive thanks to him for sending in his perspective for this Saturday's coming game. So yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to go through both team lists, give my thoughts, the head-to-head stats, betting prices, key players to watch out for, a score prediction, anytime try scorer, and also a man of the match towards the end of this preview. So, starting off with the home side, that is the New Zealand Warriors, and this is their team. So, at fullback is Rhys Walsh. On the wing is Rocco Berry, and he's replacing Dylan Watene-Zelezniak, who's out due to suffering that head knock against the Melbourne Storm. GC Arthurs is in the centres with Adam Pompey. And on the other wing, it is Viliami Valia. And in the halves is Chanel Harris-Tavita and Sean Johnson. Adam Fanua-Blake is the prop, while Wade Egan's is a hooker. Matthew Lodge in the other prop position. Ewan Aiken is in the second row with Bailey Seranen, and Jazz Tavanga comes in to the side to play at lock. Onto the bench now, it is Taniela Otukolo, Bunty Afoa, Eliasa Katoa, and Jack Murchie comes into the 17 on the bench. To the reserves now, Ben Murdoch-Masila, Dejan Asi, who's signed from the Cowboys for the rest of the 2022 season, Junior Ratuva, Pride Peterson-Rabadi, Valangi Kepu, Jackson Fry, and Edward Cozy is the reserves. Now to the opposition, that is the Canberra Raiders, and at fullback is Jordan Rapana, Nick Kotrick on the wing with Matthew Tomoko in the centres with Semi Valame and Xavier Savage on the wing. Jack Whiten in the halves with Brad Schneider, and Josh Papali is the prop. Tom Starling is the hooker, and in the other prop position is Joseph Tatabanan, and Hudson Young is in the second row with Elliot Whitehead, and Ryan Sutton is the lock. To the bench now, it is Chance Nicol Klokstad, Corey Halawela Naira, Adam Elliott, and Corey Horsburgh, and the reserves are Matt Frawley, Jared Croker, Imre Gula, Tyrell Mooney, James Schiller, I think that is, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Peter Hula, and Harry Rushton, and that is the Raiders side. So, looking at the Warriors team lineup, obviously the big changes there is no Aaron Penne, no Josh Curran, both out due to, Aaron Penne's out due to a suspension there, and Josh Curran due to an injury, as was Dylan Watene-Zelezniak as well. So, in terms of the Warriors lineup, I think it's an alright team. I don't mind it. It's good to see Rocco Berry back in the side. I personally still think he would be better in the centres and Valia to the wing. But in terms of that, it's not a bad Warriors team. And, the bench is quite interesting. It's good to see that Jack Murchie's in the side as well. But besides that, not too bad in terms of Warriors side. The Raiders, very good team on paper. I really like the looks of their team. You've got the likes of their forwards there, and Josh Papali and Joseph Tatapanen as well. You've got Hudson Young. So, yeah, it's a good Raiders team on paper overall. But if I'm going to rate both sides, the Warriors, I'll give us a 6.5 out of 10. Raiders, I'll give the Raiders a 7 out of 10 for me. Now, in terms of betting prices here in this game, the Warriors at Sportsbet here in Australia are paying $2. The Canberra Raiders are paying $1.80. Now, key players to watch out for the Warriors, for me, Rhys Walsh, Sean Johnson, and you got the likes of Adam Fanua-Blake as well in the pack, and Wade Egan as well at hooker, which I thought Wade Egan had a pretty good game against the Storm last Monday. And also you got the likes of Jazz Tavanga in that lock position as well. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Jazz goes there this week against a pretty big Canberra Raiders forward pack. For me, in terms of key players for the Raiders, I'll go with the likes of Jack Wyden in the halves. Very important player for the Raiders. Now, if he's on, the Raiders generally do win their games. So the Warriors have got to pay full attention and full focus to Jack Wyden and what he does, because when he's at his best, he's a dangerous player. Also, the likes of Tom Starling as well, who's been playing pretty well for the Raiders, even though the Raiders aren't getting the results on the field. I think he's been very consistent. You've also got the likes of Josh Papali in the 4-pack. He's coming up against Adam Fanua-Blake, so that'll be a very huge battle in terms of the head-to-head battle there. So, yeah, look out for Josh Papali, Hudson Young as well in that second row, who's lining up against Ewan Aiken there. And also keep an eye out for Chance Nickel-Klokstad as well, coming off the bench, which is very interesting. I personally think he's a fullback, but playing him off the bench is quite an interesting selection there by the Raiders. So yeah, keep an eye out for Chance Nickel-Klokstad. Now, in terms of head-to-head stats between these two teams, they've both played 42 times. The Warriors have won 20. The Canberra Raiders have won 22. Very even there, and there's been no draws as well. And you've got to look back to last year between these sides. So, the 27th of August, 2021, the Raiders won 28 points to 16 over the Warriors, and that dented our finals charge towards the end of the season. And also on the 27th of March, 2021. Now, this game was very, very memorable because, look, the Raiders in this game, we've got to remember that at halftime, they had such a massive lead. It was, I personally think it was 29-6. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments there, but it was 29-6. We came back to win it, and it was 34 points to 31. It was such a memorable game. Remember that Roger Tuivasa-Sheck try saving Jordan Rapana in the left-hand corner. And yeah, look, both teams, had a very even matchup last year. Now, in terms of win records at Moreton Daily Stadium, the Warriors are 3-3. They're unbeaten to start the season, and hopefully we can keep that run going this Saturday. In terms of upcoming games for the Warriors coming up, we've got the Cronulla Sharks in round 9 at PointsBet Stadium next week. Then we follow it up with a round 10 clash versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs at Suncorp Stadium for Magic Round, which I will be there in attendance. Round 11, we've got the Dragons at Wynn Stadium, and then following it on, round 12 against the Newcastle Knights at Moreton Daily Stadium in Redcliffe. For the Raiders, their run on looks like this. So round 9 versus the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs at GIO Stadium in Canberra. Then they followed up with a trip to PointsBet Stadium in Sydney to take on the Cronulla Sharks in round 10. Then they got the round 11 clash versus South Sydney Rabbitohs, and that is at Accor Stadium in Sydney. Then round 12 versus Parramatta Eels at GIO Stadium there. So now to come to terms with a score prediction, anytime try scorers, and the man of the match. Now, both teams really are looking to bounce back from losses last round. For the Warriors, for me, it's so important to get back in the winner's circle. If they want to be a top 8 side by the end of the season, we really need to be winning this game. And look, the Raiders, on their day can be very dangerous. They can be a very threatening team. And look, I would not rule them out in this one either. I would not rule them out to, get a victory over us. But look, looking into, recent times in terms of games, teams that usually get a flogging the previous week usually do come back and win the following week. So, not very confident in this game, but I believe we can get the victory in this. And, we really do need to match it with the Canberra Raiders 4-pack because they always do have a massive pack, and we need to match it with their pack on the field. So, look, it's great also to see Rocco Berry in return as well. For me, look, I do do think that Rocco Berry's better in the centres more than the wing spot, but the main reason why he's there is probably because, we've got a few injuries there in that position. So, yeah, I'm keen to see what Rocco Berry does and what performance he can produce on Saturday. And also Viliami Valer as well. It's great to see him back in the side, and I'm keen to see what he does on the wing there. As a couple of weeks ago he was announced that he was re-signing with the club. So, look, now to my score prediction, anytime try scorers now. So, look, in this one, I will go with the home team here. I'll go with the boys here to get the victory. I'll go Warriors by 8. I'll go Warriors to win 28 points to 20. And in terms of picking a try scorer now, so I'll go with Rocco Berry to score on the wing there, and Jesse Arthurs. And I'll go with Ewan Aiken in that second row to cross over as well. And for the Raiders, I'll go with Jordan Rapana, Matthew Tomoko, and, like I said, Jack Wyden. I think he'll score a try on this one, and I think he will get over the line in this game. In terms of man of the match and who I think can produce the goods for the Warriors, you know what? I'm going to go with Chanel Harris-Tavita to have a big game. I'll go Chanel Harris-Tavita. So, yeah, look, that wraps up my preview for the New Zealand Warriors Canberra Raiders game. And, let me know how you think the game's going to go in the comment section below. And, if you're new to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. That'll be much appreciated because it helps out the channel. And, also don't forget to like the video, click the thumbs up on the video, and click the bell so you don't miss a notification when I go live on the channel next, or when I upload a new video, you will be notified straight away. But thanks for watching, and, I'll see you all in the next one.
Kia ora, NRL Warriors fanatics. My name's Blake. I am one of the hosts of Raiders Review with Blake and the Pork, which is an audio podcast, not really a video podcast. And we are known as the formerly third most popular Canberra Raiders podcast. When we started out, there were 3 podcasts, and we were clearly the third most popular one. But we like to think we've moved up in the ranks a little bit since then. You can find the show on iTunes. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on all the sort of usual podcast places. So, season 2022 for the Raiders has been disappointing so far, to say the least. Really had a really bad start before even round 1 got underway. Well, obviously, all of our plans this year were around our new halfback, Jamal Fogarty, who unfortunately did his knee in the very first trial we played against the Roosters. So he looked all right. We looked pretty good in that trial, but since then we've clearly lacked him. We've had a young guy, Schneider, step in and play 7 for us, who's done a pretty good job, all things considered. But I think a lot of the plans around Raiders 2022 season, how we're going to play, revolved around Fogarty steering the ship. And on top of that, of course, in round 1 against the Sharks, we lost Josh Hodgson, who's been our most influential player for the last 10 years. And you lose your 7 and you lose your 9, most teams are going to struggle. That's for sure. So now we find ourselves just one spot off last place with only the Bulldogs behind us. So yeah, it's pretty disappointing. We had a game against Penrith on the weekend. Look, no Raiders fan in their right mind thought that we would win that game. Penrith are definitely the benchmark this year. I think they're even better than the Storm. When we played the Storm, they did have a few chinks out wide. I mean, they got some incredible players that can hurt you from anywhere, but they did have a few chinks out wide, whereas Penrith really don't have any obvious weakness that you can point to, and they just play so well as a team. They're so well coached and so well drilled. But anyway, we're coming against the Warriors this week. We've had some great battles with the Warriors over the years. I think we take nothing into the game, on the back of the Warriors getting flogged by the Melbourne Storm. I mean, that could happen to anyone. And yeah, we can't sort of think that it's going to be an easy game for the Raiders on the basis of that, because I expect the Warriors to come back and play much better this weekend. Going through the teams, I'll go through the Raiders team and give you a bit of background on the players and let you know sort of where they're at this season. And then I won't go through the Warriors whole team, because honestly, there's some blokes in here I know absolutely nothing about. But I'll highlight a few players that I think we've got to watch out for and who I think will really trouble us. So with the Raiders team, we've got Jordan Rapana at the back. We called for him to go to the back. The previous games, prior to the one against Panthers, Chance Nickel-Klukstar has looked very shaky at the back. He seems unsettled. A lot of Raiders fans are sort of tipping that if Rhys Walsh goes to the Dolphins, as most people are saying he will, we wouldn't be surprised if Chance goes back to the Warriors, because he's separated from his previous partner and he's now remarried, but his kids are back in New Zealand. So I imagine he'd be pretty keen to get back to be closer to his kids. And there's something not right about him this year. And a lot of people thinking that, he's unsettled. So I think he's contracted, but, if he did get an offer to go back to the Warriors, I'm sure the club would be happy to release him. Nick Kotrick is back at wing. We had high hopes for Nick coming back. So far, he's been pretty underwhelming, I've got to say. Matt Timoko may be familiar to some New Zealand fans. I think he's a future New Zealand rep player in the centres. He's been great for us this year. Runs so hard. Not the biggest centre, but very hard to bring down and keeps on going. Sally Valame is playing the centres for us this year. He is the epitome of a rocks or diamonds player. He's big, he's strong, he can do some great things, but he can also make some pretty bad reads in defence, and handling can be an issue at times. I think he's a bit of a project. He's improving. A lot of Raiders fans call for him to be dropped every week, but Ricky seems to be sticking solid with him. Then we've got Xavier Savage on the wing. Now, Xavier Savage is a phenomenal talent. He's one of the quickest guys in the NRL. If Chance moves on to the Warriors, every Raiders fan sees Xavier as being the long-term number one for the club. On the wing, though, he's not great. So I'm of the view either he has to play at the back, or maybe you could have him on the bench and come on, and play fullback for the last 20 minutes. But he's not a winger. He doesn't have the strength. He's getting manhandled. Teams are looking to drag him over the sideline at every opportunity. Excuse me. Recovering from COVID. Then at 6, Jack Whiten. Jack Whiten's been brilliant this season. He's back to his best form. Last year was a very quiet year for him, but he's back to the form that saw him win the Clive Churchill in 2019 and the Dally M in 2020. It's disappointing for him to be going so well and the team to be performing badly. Because, last year when we were going badly, we were like, we need Jack to play better. If Jack plays better, the team goes better. Well, he's playing better this year. But unfortunately, we're not getting the wins. We're not scoring enough points. We're not getting the wins. Brad Schneider, I mentioned earlier, is our halfback. He's doing well. He's not setting the world on fire, but he's doing well, and he's getting experience. And we think that he's got a big future at the club. So I'm glad that we've stuck solid with him over playing guys like Matt Frawley or Sam Williams, who can plug a gap, can come in there and do a job, but they're not the future of the club. So, even at the end of last year when Ricky was favouring Sam Williams and Matt Frawley over Brad Schneider, we all would have wanted to see Schneider there getting the experience. But he did a great job defensively against the Panthers. He had Viliami Kiku running at him all game, and he made 33 tackles and only missed 4. So he's a good player. Josh Papali'i has been playing some good footy. On his day, he's one of the premier props. Tom Starling is very much our version of Damien Cook. If you get quick ruck speed, he looks great. He's super fast, can jump out and get something happening. If the ruck is slow, he struggles, and he doesn't have the great sort of wide pass of a traditional 9, which, someone like Josh Hudson has, so we missed that. Joey Tarpany has been in career best form. I think all Warriors fans would have watched the All-Stars game at the start of the season and seen that he was the standout player there on a field full of stars. His form has continued, and he's just playing so well. He's just sort of everything you want in a modern prop. He's fast, he's agile, he's strong. He can drag a couple of players over the line to score a try. Then on the edges, back row, we've got Hudson Young, who's been in and out of the side a bit with injury this year. Hasn't been at his best. Elliot Whitehead is back in the side this week after missing last week with a horrific facial injury sustained in training. He's actually gone from left second row to right second row for this game. One of the reasons I think they've done that is to try and shore up the right edge, which has been a bit leaky. Elliott, I think, is a really good talker in defence and can cover a lot, so he's probably there to help out Schneider and Valame, because that's the edge team's been running a lot of traffic at. And then 13, Ryan Sutton. Ryan Sutton's a good player. He signed for the Bulldogs next year. The theory is that Ricky was a bit unhappy with him for doing so. He wasn't named in the side for the first 3 or 4 rounds when everyone thought that, he has to be. He was definitely somewhere in our best 17, whether it was starting or whether it was on the bench. He definitely needed to be there somewhere. In terms of him as a 13, I'm not huge on it. If you look at all the good teams now, they all have, whether it's Isaiah Yeo, whether it's Victor Radley, Cam Murray, etc., they all have a ball-playing 13, and they know who their 13 is. And we haven't worked. We chop and change our 13 every week, and it was Elliot Whitehead for a while there, and he was doing a bit of ball playing. But now Ryan Sutton's not a ball player, so I don't know what the plan is there. Then we come to the bench. Chance is on the bench, presumably to fill an injury if there's one in the outside backs, but also towards the end of the game against Penrith, he came on and played. He played at 9, which was weird. Another sort of Ricky thing that the fans are all scratching their heads about. Then we got Corey Hadawira-Naida, who is an unbelievable player. With the ball in hand, defensively not as good. Sometimes, can do amazing things, but in the last couple of losses, I think that at times he's gone missing. He hasn't really put his hand up, and that's probably why he finds himself on the bench this week. Adam Elliott, who we brought in from the Bulldogs this year, the jury's still out on Adam Elliott. I would like to see him given a go at that starting 13 role, because he's got that spark and energy, and he's quite dynamic, and I'd like to see him, see what he can do there. Stick with him for a few weeks and, actually see if he's the man that can play that role. And last, we got Big Red Corey Bubbles Horsburgh. Got in a bit of trouble at the Anzac Day game for inadvertently blowing a bubble whilst the last post was being played. I'm sure he meant nothing. He meant nothing by that, and he won't do it again. It certainly wasn't a case of him trying to disrespect anything. And speaking of disrespecting anything, there's been a big media beat up during the week about the Panthers fans doing the Viking clap and how Raiders fans and the team are so upset about it. It's a complete beat up. I don't know any Raiders fans that are upset about it at all. I mean, to the victors go the spoils. If one team gets up over another team, of course they start, giving it to them. Panthers will come back here later in the year, and I hope every Raiders fan gets out there and gives the Panthers an equally torrid reception. Public enemy number 1 being Stephen Crichton, with Jerome Luai close second. Looking at the Warriors team, like I said, I don't know all the players on the Warriors team. There's been a bit of chopping and changing and some unfamiliar names there for me. But the players that we obviously need to watch and we fear are Rhys Walsh. Kid's an undeniable talent. Chanel Harris-Tavita, I really like as a player. There was a bit of talk that he was looking around to test the market last year, and we were in the market for a half at that time, and I would have been more than happy if we'd signed him. I think he's great, and he's a real competitor, and really, puts his body on the line. Shaun Johnson has copped a bit of criticism of late, but if there's one thing we as Raiders fans fear, it's a struggling champion. We have a real knack for playing struggling superstars back into form. I mean, Shaun Johnson has performed very well against us over the years, whether it be at the Warriors or the Sharks as well. We have a tradition of playing stars back into form. I mean, if you look at Kalen Ponga, he looks like $1 million player only a few games a year, and it's usually when he plays the Raiders. Adam Fanua-Blake, again, great player, has been in fantastic form. Has a bit of a history with the Raiders, did the boo-hoos to the Raiders fans after we lost closely to Manly a couple of years ago. So he's not a popular man in Canberra, but yeah, he's a great player. So those would be the ones I would fear. In terms of try scorers for the Raiders, Matt Timoko, I think, a chance of getting over the line, and Papa, I think, is due for a try. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think it could go down to 1 or 2 points. Hopefully the Raiders get the win, but you never know. And good luck to the Warriors and the Warriors fans. And talk to you later.